I think a lot of people are familiar with is, you type in a question in a, chat interface or something like that, you get an answer. But instead, what you're saying is this is a few levels of complexity beyond that of like, I want you to accomplish something, and then the AI agent goes out there and does it, right? Is that a safe assumption?
Yeah, I mean, the neat way to think about this is if you were to do some kind of an integration with another tool, right? Today, let's say you weren't using AI at all, right?
Yeah.
You would probably have to scope out the work, figure out, is there a way that you can interact with it? Let's say, for example, Salesforce and something like Constant Contact or I don't know,
Right.
some other type of tool, right? You'd have to figure out like, okay, let's sit down, figure out, are both tools applicable for our use case? Do we have kind of an intersection of their APIs? You have to find developers. You have to, figure out
Right.
like, okay,
Right.
can I? And so one of the fascinating things that generative AI is able to do is you actually don't even need to do any of those things. In fact, you can kind of, and I'm being reductive here, but give the AI a URL and it can kind of figure it out, which is an absolutely fascinating thing.
Yeah.
I'm being very reductive, but the integration cost that's associated with getting an AI to do something with generative AI is beginning to be vanishingly small. And the more you see the capabilities of these models deepen and extend, not only are the richer capabilities that you're going to see they have, but you're also going to see more fascinating things like maybe even multi-step operations. I mean, let's get real for a second, right?
Yeah.
One of the most challenging things that I've found, at least in marketing, is it's dead simple these days to stand up a landing page. I mean, it
Right.
is, take your tool off of the shelf and
Right.
you've got a landing page, right?
Right.
But what do you do after that, right? And if I'm thinking about, well, yeah, it's easy to stand up. I collect a bunch of leads. I mean, how am I going to turn those into anything resembling an MQL other than saying, oh, they've filled out a bunch of information? Well, let's think about that next step. And I'm going to get crazy for a second if you don't mind, Greg. But
Sure. Sure.
what if, and just bear with me, I had a landing page and a customer filled out a bunch of information, let's say for a potential customer, and they gave me a reason as an example for why they wanted to sign up, for their interest in my product. And I took that open text box of the things that they were interested in, and I fed that to an agent. And not only could I create out of that text box, as an example, an account on their behalf on my site, I could even potentially create a custom demo if I
Mm.
hooked that AI agent up to my website based on that input prompt that that user provided. And I could have that already, inside of about 2 to 3 minutes. I
Yeah.
mean, there's fascinating capabilities, and really your imagination is the only limit.